Hey guys, Kev here, and I have an unboxing / full review to do for you. So, the day has come to do the full review on the Urban EDC Supply Baby Barlow. So, absolutely love this knife, and I love it so much that I bought another one because I'm a maniac. So shout out to Urban EDC Supply. You guys know I love them. You know I love working with them. They are a company that I have an affiliate link with. I've also worked with them on Debo knife stuff, and they're just good people. They're good people, and they have a good store with good stuff to sell, right? And that's important. So I'm going to go ahead and link my Urban EDC Supply link below. If these are still available, which I don't think they are, I'll link that. They do still have the Copita, which I gave away recently, and I love that knife. The small little box in its design, I kind of want one. I think they still have the Monaco up for pre-order. So if you're looking for a small knife, there's a few options. They also have other knives. The Debo Stout pre-order is actually sold out. So thank you to you guys for going ahead and taking care of that. Let's just rip into this guy right here. Close this up. Open this, and then we'll tuck it away. Get her back in the packaging. There we go. All right. So you'll see here, they're both titanium. I wanted titanium. I just like the feel of the titanium. And on this one, we have, let's see, are we centered? It looks mostly centered. This one looks just a little off to the show side here. But I haven't checked the tightness or anything. Flips out really nicely, just like the other one. Feels pretty tight there on the pivot. And oh, action is butter. Do have a little bit of stick where this one is smooth as glass when I slide it over. See that? See that stick? So we'll see how that breaks in, because I actually had another one of these. I had one show up already, and I had to return it because of lock stick. I was hoping they would QC check it before they sent another one, because I didn't want to have this happen. Last time, yeah. Anyway, let me check. Clean it off with alcohol and maybe just flick it a bunch. I'm not going to take it apart or anything, because then they can't do anything with it. So I'm just going to put some alcohol on there and flick it. Let that sit for a second. Might as well clean this one off while I'm here. And that's just transferring alcohol to the lock bar, and that helps a lot. Depending on what's going on, there could be some oil in there. I will get a bit driver, and we can check tightness. It's going to be a T8 all the way around on this guy. Tight. Yeah, a little loose, but feels tight. We're going to have stick when I do this, because it's the first flip after I put alcohol on it, obviously. Might be a couple like that. Hopefully it is then gone. That's the plan. Oh. Yeah, see, it's just... The lockup's not late. It's kind of early, actually. So if you look at this one, see where the lockup is? The lock bar is not fully engaged. It's like 80% or so. This one's even earlier than that. So that would normally be a good thing. No rock or anything. That time it went a little bit further, so it seems like, I don't know, maybe the geometry is just off. I don't know if it could be a thing with this specific version for some reason. Wait. Yeah, it's just sticking. Don't think it's anything to do with oil, but I could be wrong. So that's one thing going on here, is that there's no lock bar insert. It's going to be a titanium liner lock. And so if there's any oil in the vicinity, it can cause stick, obviously. And sometimes you got to just slowly work it out by putting the alcohol on there over and over and over and over and over. I don't know if I'm getting anything there. And I may just give up here and try this after. I don't want to sit here on the video the whole time working on this. Just trying to get alcohol wherever I can, really. See if there's oil on anything else that's causing this. Because what will happen is they'll oil the bearings, they'll oil the detent track, whatever, right? And then that causes oil to shoot. Kind of as you flick the knife, it sprays oil onto other parts of the knife, and that can get to the lock bar, and then once it's on the lock bar, boom, you screwed. Oh, I've had some knives where I had to do it like 5-6 times with the Q-tip and just keep working it, carrying it, and then it kind of works itself out just over time. And right now it's acceptable. Right now it's, you know, a little tiny kind of click. Oh. But I'd say as long as it's not like heavy click, I want to be able to just push my finger and have it drop, right? That's what you want. And it feels like we're good to go. So I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to chill. And then we'll talk about this knife. Oops. Sound good? I'm sure you guys are like, yeah, Kev, it sounds good, dude. Please stop this already. I feel you. All right. So let's talk about this knife, guys. As you can tell, I really like the knife because I am sitting here with my second one, right? So aesthetically, it's gorgeous. It's just one of those knives that has gripped me and said, dude, you need this knife. It looks so sexy. And you have to have one, right? And that's kind of like, it's just one of those things. If I pull out some other knives like that, you have the Brian Brown Knives Jaeger. You have the Matt Christensen Maverick S that does that to me. What are we talking? Production knives. You have the Mini Tempest from Sharp by design. And you can see these are all Reate knives, aren't they? They're all made by Reate. I'm sure there's some other ones that grab me a bit. I don't see anything other than sort of more higher end stuff like the Rosie, the Burgers, you know, stuff like that. But I think this is a pretty good indication of just sexy knives that grab you, right? You're like, I gotta have one of these. And that's how I felt about the baby Barlow. It's just small, right? It's just one of those knives that's small, so it was kind of questionable for me. Do I really want to have a knife that small? And I got the prototype. I got the prototype in from Urban EDC Supply. They were nice enough to send me a prototype. And I had the Black G10 one with a inlay right here. I forget what the inlay was. It was some kind of, I think it was micarta. It was something. And I thought it was cool. I did. I really thought it was a cool knife. And by the end, I was in love. By the end, I pre-ordered this one right here. So I wasn't just like, yeah, I really like the prototype. I can recommend it, right? No, it was like, I love the prototype. I think this is going to be fantastic. So let me pre-order one, right? And then I pre-ordered the one I would want, which was titanium. And to me, at that point, it was like I was just going to have one, and I thought the black contrast with the darker titanium made sense. And I honestly thought it was a different finish on the blade. I thought this one was stonewashed, and that one was more satin or something. So when I ordered this one recently, I thought I was going to get a different blade. I didn't realize they're both stonewash. But it's just one of those knives that screams to you, right? To me, anyway, when it's closed, it's so sexy. It looks like a pendulum or something. It looks like, I don't know, something that would just be on a desk or sitting on a shelf, or it looks like an unassuming, awesome thing. And I don't know how to say that better, but it looks like an ornament of some sort. It doesn't look like a knife. You can barely see the blade. You know, obviously if you see the clip, you know, but like if this was just sitting on your shelf or something, you know, if you had it on a stand or something like that, you wouldn't even know it's a knife, I don't think. People wouldn't register that right away. And then the fact that it's so small, I showed you earlier, those knives, and here's two more. This is the Nimble X, so that's the large 3.5 inch version, and this is the Nimble. So full size and regular size, or XL and small, whatever you want to call it. Hope that helps if you guys are unclear on the size. It's a small knife. It's a very small knife, actually. But it's mighty. You know, it's small but mighty. The ergonomics are incredible. For this size of a knife, like I just showed you, I can get all 4 fingers. I have a large glove size hand. All 4 of my fingers are on this knife. Comfortably on this knife right now. To me, that is insane. I still don't quite understand how I'm doing that, but I'm doing it. Justin Lindqvist did such a good job on this handle. It's amazing. I just love it. It's super neutral. Like I was saying, it looks like some kind of ornament, but it's amazing in hand. And then you have that reverse Tanto sheepsfoot blade that's just perfect in this grip. You can get into a pinch grip, and it's just zip, zap, zip. It's amazing. It really is. I've cut shipping labels out with this guy and enjoyed it. It's not going to cut deep, so you're not going to get, you know, 5, 6, 7 labels cut with it, because it's hard. You know, you could if you really put pressure down, but it's going to cut 1 or 2 labels really well. The tip does not penetrate super well. You can see here it's a very, would you call it obtuse tip? It's not acute, right? It's not like a worn cliff where you just get a ton of tip for penetration, right? Or even, you know, like even this sheep's foot / spear point kind of, you get that acute tip where you can get through something a lot easier. We'll pull the Jaeger back out. That tip penetrates, right? This tip does not. That's one of the downsides to, I guess, a reverse Tanto or whatever this blade shape is. You can see it on one of my own designs on the mash here. Same kind of deal, right? It's got that reverse Tanto blade, and it makes it to where in testing on this, you don't get a ton of tip because it gets kind of meaty real fast, and you don't get a ton of penetration. Still works pretty good on that one, not so much on this one just because of how small the knife is, but that's really my main gripe with the cutting on this knife is that tip is not acute, and then it's a smaller obviously blade, so if you're slicing, you know, you don't get a long slice. So like here's a piece of paper, we can check the factory edge. I've used that one quite a bit, so you can cut through pretty well, right? But you got to make sure, because it's such a small blade, you just don't get a lot of it. And like here's the one I've been using. You can see it's already doling out a little bit. This is M390. It's still fine, but I want to get somebody to put a mirror edge on it or an edge on it. I want to see how sharp I can get that tip, because that's what I want to use the most is the tip. And that's what I struggle with the most on this knife, and I'm going to show you that. Like I said, those penetrating cuts is where this knife kind of has issues. I wanted to, you can see when I cut into this package how I had to kind of tear it a little bit at first and keep cutting. Because of the tip, you don't get through the material well. You see that? I didn't get through. Now again, if I go to the Jaeger and I do that, watch this. I'll have to do nothing. I'm way through that material, right? It just zips right through the material. If I take this sheep's footy, whatever knife, same thing. Just gonna slice and dice through that stuff. Let's test that mash design that I was talking about with the reverse Tanto. Same issue. See, there's something about these tips that don't penetrate well, and I think it's because if you look at the tip, you get that right there, and that's it. It gets thick real fast right there. Where again, looking at a Jaeger, you have that very, very acute penetrating tip, and it doesn't really get thick until like up here. I mean, look at the difference on these. Hard to show you, but I don't want to stab myself. But can you see the difference at how thick the tip gets? So it doesn't look like it'd be bad, right? But it is. And so it leads me to not be that big of a fan of a reverse Tanto or whatever we call this blade shape. Which is funny because I love sheep's foot blades, and what they're designed to do is what I want it to do, but it just doesn't do it well. So what you have to do is apply good amount of pressure and slice through, and it'll do the job, right? You just have to apply it right, and I suck at it, and that's maybe part of it is me, I don't know, but apply pressure and slice, and I get caught. It kind of tears instead of slicing, right? If you put it on a table and do it, it's probably going to do a better job. I'm just being careful with this table. So it's a thing, all right? It's a thing. Let's just put it that way. So it's not my favorite thing about the knife. It's basically the biggest downside, in my opinion. So that's Ergo's cutting. Carry is phenomenal on these. It has this wonderful deep carry clip, right? You see that goes pretty much to the end of the knife. It's not reversible, sadly, but I get it. It would look kind of shitty, honestly, if it was reversible. And it hides the screws under there. So those screws under there are actually for the liner. So that's what holds that nested liner in. See if I can show you. So you see the two screws right there and there. That's holding, those two screws come in from the outside and they hold the liner in. And the liner goes into a milled out clip side scale. And then that's your lock bar. And then on the other side you have milled out to the gills, right? And then you have this cool logo inside that says, it has that sort of Urban EDC clock, and then it has the letter J for Justin Lindqvist. I think there might be an L in there too. I'm not sure. Let's see if I can see it. No. It might be his JL logo. I put a picture on it on my Instagram at one point, but you can see there. So it's pretty cool that they do that. It's kind of a little Easter egg in there. And it's milled out like crazy. So that's how you get the liner in there. It's super tight in there. So you have this pivot, and I did a disassembly of the prototype. You have this pivot that goes through, obviously captured on this side, screw on this side. And then there's like a bar that goes through the blade, and that bar then has a washer on each side that goes through the bar, and then it has like a little hourglass type thing, and that's the washer for the bearings. And sadly, it's steel washers, steel bearings, sorry. It's a steel cage, and the bearings are ceramic. Sorry, I want to make that clear. Bearings are ceramic, but they're on a steel cage, and I'm guessing that's because they had to do it that way. I'm guessing that the size bearings they use, which are absolutely probably the tiniest ones you can get, they probably do not come in a brass cage. So they are stamped, which kind of sucks, and you cannot replace them with skiff, so don't even try. You're really just going to get yourself in trouble if you take this knife apart and try to fuck around with stuff. It's so tiny. All the parts are tiny. It's put together really well by Reate. If you have that stick issue that I was showing you earlier, just do what I did and just apply some alcohol. Keep doing that until it clears up. It'll probably also just break in, right? Like right now, it's got a little bit of a click still on occasion, but if I'm disengaging the lock, it just, half the time it just glides right over. And I'm guessing it's just going to get better as it goes. So I'm going to not worry about it too much. And if I do anything, I'll just do the alcohol thing again. Lockup looks good. Right? And it's so smooth. It's one of those things where it's just like buttery smooth in here. For this size of a knife, all those things, it's pretty incredible, honestly, how smooth it is. You can see how it just drops to my nail, glides shut. This is the other one I have. Drop. Nice and smooth. No friction at all. You can't even hear the detent ball rubbing. This one you might be able to. Still wearing in. So this one's worn in. And this one's just breaking in. And, man, just so good. So, again, I think I was stuck on carry. Great clip. The clip works really well. You do have to angle it a little bit because you get that lip at the end there. In hand, it doesn't, you don't feel it at all, the clip. But I'm just saying, you don't have a ton of ramp, so you got to kind of angle it to get it in your pocket. And it's super lightweight. The ones in G10, micarta, whatever, I think those weigh like just over an ounce. It's like 1.08 ounces or something stupid. And then these titanium ones weigh like 1.8 ounces or something. They're not even 2 ounces. They literally disappear in your pocket. I carried them mostly in my back left pocket as a secondary knife, but I also carried it in my front right pocket as a primary knife. And they were fantastic in either role. disappear. Just very, very good. All right, so let's talk about action and fidget factor. And the detents on these are just tuned really well. It's one of the most fidgety mini knives I've ever handled. You just grab it, you grip it, and rip it. I mean, you can do it like a traditional top flipper, front flipper knife. Now, you can see it's not like front flippery. It's more along the top center, which looks good, but it also gives you a really good amount of grip when you want to rip it, and it works. And you can see left-handed without the clip, with this tiny little knife, I'm able to do it pretty stable, right? And then right-handed, you do have the clip, and it's even better. But the best move on this knife is the reach around top flip. Hands down, this move, the size of the knife, you just kind of dangle it. Yep, I said dangle. And just, man, it's so fun. And then having a tiny knife like this drop to your nail like this just feels like not weird. Like, it's weird that it does it, but it feels amazing to have this little knife drop to your nail. And it's such a little knife and a light blade that it's never going to like dig into your nail or anything and hurt you. So it's kind of fun to do the nail drop on this one. And then it's so smooth and buttery that you can just give it that one shake down. And no, it's not a guillotine. Like, it's not just free falling. But trust me, you'll be amazed the size of this knife and how it feels when you're closing the knife. The fidget factor is off the charts. For being a flipper-only knife and top flipper-only, whatever, it's still one of the funnest knives I've ever handled. Ever had the pleasure of handling. And now I can tell you I've had multiple, and they basically feel the same. Like, I don't really notice much of a difference in terms of, you know, the fidgetiness or anything like that. I notice little nuances, you know. Sounds is one thing. So the difference between these two, even though they're both titanium, I don't know if you've caught this by now, but the top one here, the new one, to me, this is a milled out sort of pivot collar-y thing. So it's milled. And this one is an inlay. So this is a G10 inlay, right? And this is one piece of titanium. So I think acoustically, it just has a different sound because you have all the milling internally, and then you have that just being milled instead of an inlay. And I think it just sounds different. It's got more of a ting to it, but we'll see as I carry them and whatever if I notice a big difference. I think it is centered. I think it's just a mental thing for me that I don't think it is. And it's mostly to do with this. I see that gap, and it looks like it's a little closer to this side. But a lot of that can be the lock bar pushing over. But if you look at the tip, it looks dead on to me. And this one, again, if you look down the center there, this one looks perfectly centered all the way down and on the tip. So I don't know what the deal is with that. But to me, they both look good. And neither is worth, you know, fucking with or anything. But that's the kind of shit that bugs me. I'm just like, that tiny little bit, and it's annoying me, right? I don't know. So I absolutely just love this knife. Here, look, we'll do a little L for Justin Lindqvist. He killed it. He absolutely killed it with this design. I know this is a reiteration. They did I don't know if LeftyEDC did it or if it was just him. I don't know how that went down because it was before my time, I guess. But they did a baby Barlow before in a clip point, and I think it was made in Italy, and it just wasn't as good as far as I understand from people, which makes sense because it was Italy. So this is extremely well made, extremely dialed in, and yeah, if you can't tell, we're 30 minutes in, and it's one of my favorite knives this year. This is in the running for knife of the year for me, guys. It's that good. I've had a few lately. The Maverick S comes to mind. The Jaeger is not new, so it doesn't count, but it would be on there. And then the Mini Tempest are probably the ones that are in the running currently. So those 3 knives, Baby Barlow, Maverick S, and Mini Tempest. Excuse me. And yeah, I honestly couldn't tell you who would win right now. I love this knife. I have not gone a day since I got it without it being in my pocket or right here on my desk in front of me on my laptop. Usually I will put the knives in the case eventually, you know, and they'll kind of go there. But this kind of stays on the table with my fidget stuff. And part of it, I think, is the size. I don't really have a great, like, it's going to just drop into a spot on my case. But the other part of it is I just always want to have one nearby to play with because it's fun to just pick up, flip a few times, and put back down. It's small, but yet it's, you know, you can fidget real quick. You're not, you know, lumbering with a big knife. So, yeah, it's a wonderful knife. And I'm very, very glad that I got one. And, yeah, I have 2 now. We'll see if that lasts. You know, usually I get 2, and then I eventually sell one. And we'll see if I can get this stick to chill out because it's back again now. I might just need to keep working with the alcohol because I think it was gone there for a second. So we'll see what happens. Now it's back in force. Look at that. So anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Did you get one? Did you get 2? Which ones did you get? I'm starting to think maybe I should have got, like, you know, one of the G10 or Micarta ones instead of 2 titanium ones, but they are different, and I like them for different reasons, so it's fine with me. But anyway, absolutely a wonderful knife. Again, one of my favorites this year, so you'll see a lot of it probably. You've already seen a lot of it if you follow me on Instagram. I just love this thing, and it does really well with, like, pocket dumps and stuff, so... I love you guys. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic and wonderful day. And I will catch you later.